With Smash Bros. Ultimate launching in just almost 2 months, we are getting down to the nitty gritty and we are getting picky. We're talking about what we want from Sakurai, from Daddy Sakurai this last time, it seems, because this is Smash Ultimate. We need the ultimate content, and so far in my book with characters, we are very close to that ultimate roster. But I will talk about everything there has to be with our characters and already have, so characters is that kind of out of the way today. But today, we are continuing this ultimate talk with what else would be ultimate, and nothing else would make me, or probably lots of you guys, happier than to have the ultimate story mode. Yes, that's right. And we're going to talk about these story modes that have been occurring in past games and talk about what Sakurai is going to do with this one, if there even is going to be one, assumingly. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. So first off, we have Melee, because obviously there was no adventure mode in the very first 64 game. But in Melee, we've got something very new and very fresh to the series, being the adventure mode, obviously. So pretty much what happened was you would fight random battles similar to like Classic and stuff like that, but you would every now and then have a level where you have to traverse it moving side to side like a 2D platformer, where you would fight some enemies, do some platforming, some small platforming and stuff like that in common Nintendo worlds. And if I'm not mistaken, the only worlds that really had these levels was the Mushroom Kingdom, the Hyrule Castle stage, and along with the F-Zero Mute City track. So that wasn't very expansive back in the day, and it wasn't that big, but it did set the grounds for something bigger to come later on. But this is kind of where we're looking at, because this is going to take in toll in what we're talking about today, because lots of people are saying that we might get an adventure mode, but it might not have cutscenes, and it would be akin to the Super Smash Bros. Melee game. So, I mean, this is where we need to start talking, is because I feel like this was the ground beginning. For Smash Ultimate, it's all about, taking everything that was great and making it better and bigger. And this isn't better and bigger in my book. This is where Nintendo started off. This was their first beginning. And this was just like where they wanted to eventually take the series in the future, but add more. Obviously, Brawl increased the, skill level, the quality of this. And you'll see in a few minutes what I'm talking about. But obviously, you probably already know. But this is a good basis and a good groundwork for what Nintendo can do. And as we move on, you'll see exactly how they lift it up from here. So, moving on to the next segment, we have Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissary. Now, this is the most controversial, most world-renowned, I think, story mode in any of Nintendo's games. This was almost the Avengers, so to speak, for Nintendo. You had all of these characters in this amazing story, which was wacky, crazy. Some of it didn't even make sense, but it worked. And it worked so well to see these characters integrate with each other. But before we get to the actual cutscenes and stuff, let's talk about the actual gameplay. So the gameplay is actually mirrored from that of Melee, but it is expanded on greatly. So you go around this giant map that's not even in particular, home to any of these Nintendo characters. It's just this random map, and this map works as the basis where all these characters meet. There's no explanation why, but they're all there together. And they come across each other through different lands and different areas. And you go through these levels in that horizontal side-scroller way where you beat up enemies, collect items, and work your way progressing through the level. What's so interesting about this one, though, is it didn't take anything from Melee with its level design. Meaning, the levels here are mostly original design levels and originally designed enemies at that point as well. There are still enemies like Goombas and Koopa Troopas and stuff in that nature, but lots of the enemies are brand new. You have eyeballs floating with tentacles and swords and machine gun skulls and all kind of crazy stuff that you only get from Subspace. So even though I enjoy that, I feel like if Nintendo is going to go out on the ledge this time around and do another adventure mode, they don't need that. They can use the characters and enemies that are already in Nintendo properties, and even the stages. I'm not sure why there has to be a generic jungle and there can't be, Donkey Kong's jungle. And I don't know why lots of these stages aren't really representative of any Nintendo game. They're just, brought up and made up. And I think that's where Nintendo can both save time and make it more intriguing. And that was the only thing with the level design that kind of got me. Why wasn't it, more based upon the Nintendo characters? And Nintendo does something later on with the Wii U game that's going to help me blend that together. But this, you got obviously more exploration and more things. The levels are longer, there's more levels, and there's lots of stuff to do in each of these levels. Now the big thing here, Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissary had amazing levels and stuff, and I thought the level design was really unique, but what separated this from Melee big time was the cutscenes. The cutscenes did it all for Nintendo. I mean, it felt like a Nintendo movie, and in fact, you can actually go online right now and look up the Subspace Emissary cutscenes, and I think all the cutscenes together will give you something grand, like a full 50-minute movie of Nintendo characters doing wacky stuff, and it's just amazing, you know, and there's nothing out there quite like it from Nintendo. Nintendo has done cutscenes in video games like Other M and Metroid and different stuff like that, but it's just not the same. This utilized something amazing. This was a company combining all of their IPs into this big flushed out story adventure mode, and seeing the characters interact with each other is just something mesmerizing. This never happens in Smash Brothers. If characters fight each other, they look like blank faces, they have no clue what's going on probably. In this, you get to actually see what the characters do when they meet up with each other, how they react and how they, you know, interchange relationships, and it's so cool to see something like that in a Nintendo game. And these cutscenes are high quality. I mean, this is not just slapped together, let's get this out. These cutscenes were produced with a story element in mind. You know, you can see like from the new enemies and the new boss, and it's incredible how they did this. But if Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was going to take this approach, they would have had to been beginning to create this thing years ago. And that's one thing people are worried about, is did they even have enough time to create a game like this? And I think they did. I think that this game was being developed even before the Wii U was considered dead. Or the Wii U Smash Brothers was considered dead. So I think time is definitely not a problem, but capacity of characters is definitely the problem. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is looking like to have one of the biggest character rosters in any fighting game at all. And it looks like that they're going to have well over 70 characters, which is a boatload of characters to put into a story mode, let alone it have cutscenes of every single one of these characters. I still think it's possible, and this is the ultimate version of Smash Brothers, and Sakurai knows this, and I feel like, you know, with all that development time that they could have had, this could have been planned out. Now, not every character needs equal amount of screen time. Obviously, we definitely saw that in Smash Brothers Subspace, the Subspace from Brawl. Mario was definitely on the screen more. Mario and Pit was on the screen way more than, you know, say Jigglypuff. I don't even think Jigglypuff was even on the screen at all. So I don't know if every single character needs to be implemented, because I'm sure there's going to be some later characters. And if characters are seen once or twice, it's fine. But these cutscenes are almost vital to me. And, you know, seeing them put all these new character trailers with these great cutscenes just makes me want it even more to see these characters, you know, interact again. And just, even though that there's 70 characters, to me, that's just something that I want to see even more now. I want to see all 70 of these characters interact, including the fact that we have third parties now like Mega Man and Pac-Man and Cloud. To see all these characters interact with Nintendo characters as well, it would be so cool to see all these characters in their own environments and then, you know, mold together and, you know, go throughout this story together. It would be amazing and something that I truly want. So what's good about Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS? Absolutely nothing. It was a terrible game. It should have never even released, no. But Super Smash Bros. DS had something very unique with it that I think it even did better than Wii U. We all know the infamous Super Smash Bros. Wii U Smash Tour game mode. It was the most dumbest play from Nintendo of all time. Let's just put that out there. Anyways, Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS had a mode called Smash Run. And Smash Run did something great and could have continued doing it great, but it messed up at the end. So pretty much you go throughout this giant adventure map, beating up enemies from across the Nintendo franchise, and then getting stat boosts and stuff so that at the very end of the match, you have a Smash battle or, you know, some type of competing battle with other people. So that battle may be, you know, a run to the end, which is pretty much just a 2D side-scrolling run. A vertical ascend run to the end where you're climbing up as quick as you can. or just, straight Smash battle and stuff like that. So you want to get these attributes throughout this map in the very beginning while you can. But no one really cared about the end battle. What made this so fun was the fact that this was the closest we came to an adventure mode for Wii U and 3DS, because it had this giant overworld map. Once again, no really one location representing any type of Nintendo franchise, but it was really cool to see all of these Nintendo enemies and the fact you could fight them. There was Bullet Bills, Koopa Troopas, Kid Icarus enemies, Metroids, just all kind of crazy wacky characters, Kremlings, everything. And this was amazing because this let us see all of these enemies again, and it made us think, wow, what if these were in HD? And that's what we thought we were getting for the Smash Wii U version, but apparently we didn't. I don't know why that was the case, but yeah, so that is where I'm kind of molding everything together. The fact that this has all original characters that comes from the Nintendo franchise is so great. I don't think we need just these brand new made up characters that doesn't really have any type of significance to the game. I think the fact that Nintendo has all these great characters already is a plus. Pull from these games that have these characters and use them. It will save you time, it will save you money, probably. So this is kind of where I think Nintendo needs to start molding everything together. It still honestly and truthfully amazes me that Nintendo didn't do anything like this for the Wii U. There was no type of adventure mode. You had a classic mode where you at the end fought this cool Master Core boss, but there was no mode. There was no extra thing to do that really took up your time, and it was really intriguing and interesting. It felt like they were building up to that moment. It felt like with Melee they had to just dumb down basic adventure mode. Then Brawl, they brought in the cutscenes and the great level design and the enemies and everything, the original boss, antagonists, and everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck are they gonna do for Wii U and 3DS? And they have all these unique characters and one of the best game rosters yet, and all of these options with bosses and stuff with the Yellow Devil and Ridley, and then Smash Tour, a board game mode. That's where they went. So that's why I'm here talking, because I feel like I need to get this out before Ultimate reveals its game mode, and we need to know if this is going to be something we're excited for or something that's going to let us down again. So let's start talking about Smash Ultimate now and what it needs to do. Let's put all of these games into perspective. So let's say Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that game mode that is hidden, that everybody is calling spirits and everything, let's say that in fact it's Subspace. Let's say it's a brand new story mode, maybe not called Subspace but something else. It doesn't matter what it's called, as long as if it's a good story mode, I don't care. But let's kind of talk about what it needs, okay? We have over 70 characters, so obviously cutscenes is going to be one of the bigger obstacles, I think, for Nintendo. But I feel like they are 100% necessary. If it ever came down into the boardroom as, should we add these, should it be in here, this should always be a yes. Now, if you guys have recall, Sakurai mentioned a while ago why Super Smash Bros. Wii U didn't have cutscenes, and that in fact they were actually planned at first, but Sakurai said no. Sakurai said no because the Super Smash Bros. Brawl cutscenes were actually leaked online, and he said once you see a cutscene out of its context once, it takes away all the special moments that cutscene has to offer in-game. And I agree to an extent with the fact that it does do that, but at the same time, I disagree with the fact of taking that out and taking it away from players that really want it, and because people leak stuff. And people are going to leak things. People are going to leak anything. Look at Fortnite. Every week something is leaked within the new weapon coming and, what the next season is going to be. Leaks happen, with the greatest of game companies. But there's nothing we can do about them. And the fact that you take content out of games because they're being leaked should never be a case scenario. And that just hurts me to think about that. If you don't want to be spoiled about a cutscene or something on the internet, don't watch it. That is up to the consumer to watch something like that or not. If the consumer is begging for cutscenes and you take them out because they're getting leaked, the consumer should have the right to get those cutscenes still, but have the choice not to view them. And that is, to me, their personal choice. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just how I feel on that subject. And we know Sakurai goes back on what he said in the past. Ridley was too big. He's in Smash now. And he just, there's also tons of other things that Sakurai has said it was never going to happen that's happened. So the fact that he never deconfirmed it for this Smash, because he actually sent this message out months before the Smash Wii U dropped. So we were prepared in advance that there was not going to be, a subspace type mode. We knew that. We are now about 2 months in, 2 months until the game releases, and Sakurai hasn't said anything such. So the fact that it's still on the table intrigues me. And the whole thing with cutscenes, I feel like adds so much to the game that nothing else could. And I just don't feel like they can be replaced by anything. Cutscenes are special of their own right. But I also feel like Sakurai is taking this in his home right now as more of a serious thing to take care of now. Don't let these things get out, because he's mentioned that he doesn't let hardly anyone know some of the development cycle. He said there's more than half of his team that doesn't even know what characters are coming and stuff with the game, And just that trust right there, it shows that how much Sakurai is serious. And if we're talking about leaks totally in this game, nothing really got leaked. There's been some apparent rumors that came true, but I feel like most of them were just things we expected, like Ridley and Simon. I don't know about Simon. Simon may have been leaked, but the only real leak that may have happened already was the one with Ryu. Ryu's Echo being Ken. It looked like a pretty real picture, but we still don't even know if it's real yet. But that would be the first leak that we even got from this game at all. But I just don't know, man. I really do hope that there's cutscenes, and I feel like the cutscenes would expand this so well. Smash Ultimate is the ultimate version of Smash, and without cutscenes, this story mode wouldn't be the same. For gameplay, obviously you look at Brawl Subspace, but I think it's really important to pull from Super Smash Bros. 3DS's Smash Run. You can use those enemies, like I said, use Nintendo-owned property levels and worlds. Let's see Ness is on it from Earthbound City in there. Let's see that whole city. Let's see Hyrule Field and Castle and the Mushroom Kingdom and just all kind of stuff throughout the Nintendo universe. And let's explore even third-party universes if you can. Midgar from Final Fantasy and the Umbra Clock Tower area place for Bayonetta. I don't care. Let's just expand on that whole notion of this world. But that could be really important to, add that Nintendo vibe, have those enemies, have those levels. And like I said, for bosses, we have those bosses right now. We have, Count Dracula for Simon and them. We have Rathalos, the monster from Monster Hunter. We have the Yellow Devil, Metal Face. Ridley is now a character, though, so that can't happen. But we have these bosses that would work so well, and you could continue to add more. We have all of these great super villains that can't really be characters but could make great bosses like Dr. Eggman or Dr. Wily. And just different characters like that would work really well. And you could pull from all types of different games, and this could be some glorious, not just all characters are here, but all of these great antagonists and enemies from all time. And with the main antagonist, I feel like Taboo was a little, behind the scenes the whole time. You didn't really know who he was until the end, and he just felt like it's this random dude. He was powerful and all, but he just felt like a random dude. I felt like there should be one specific Nintendo character to hold that title as the main antagonist, and I thought about this, and every time I tried to think of something else, the same character comes to my head every single time, being Hades from the Kid Icarus series. He is so powerful and so strong, and the fact that he's just like the god of the underworld, he is capable of probably bringing all of these classic Nintendo villains together. And I know there was actually some people voting for him in Super Smash Bros. And I thought he was way too powerful and way too mighty and way too big. And not just Ridley big, but big. He's like a god. So like, how in the world is he going to work as a character? I know Palutena's a god and everything, but you know what I mean. If you played Kid Icarus Uprising, you know who Hades was and how he felt with his presence. He just felt mighty and way too big. But that doesn't say... That is the exact feeling you should have from a main antagonist. I feel like Hades would do that part well, and he would just have the comedical purposes and just the overall threat to all of these characters. Now, at the end of the day, it's all up to Sakurai. The decision is his, and we just have to eventually accept that. But, people are trying to discover what this secret mode is, and they're saying, it could be a boss rush mode, that's why they're showing all the bosses, and we determined in my last video that, the Rathalos area and the Dracula area were two completely different areas than just regular stages. They were made for battling those bosses. And people are like, it's a boss rush mode then, it's a boss rush mode, it doesn't have to be a story mode. There was a boss rush mode in Smash Bros. Brawl, but it was tied based upon Subspace, and it was in its own individual category underneath all of these different games and more. It didn't have a main section of the main hub. And I just feel like a boss rush mode isn't big enough to have a category like that in the front page of Smash Wii U's menu, or Smash Ultimate's menu. And it's something bigger than that. It's not Smash Tour, it's not that, it's not Smash Run, it's something new and it's something big. And it could very well be what we all been waiting for. But we're just going to have to continue to wait. You know, out of any character reveals or anything, this is the thing I'm most excited for the next Smash Ultimate trailer or, you know, direct. And I think it is going to be coming in the month of October. And I threw my prediction out there for like the 3rd or 4th week of October. I think we're going to see this Smash Ultimate Direct, and we're going to definitely get this game mode revealed. But let me know, guys, in the comments what you guys want this mode to be, what you think it is, and what you hope it is. Obviously, I know a lot of people are hoping it is that story mode, but I want to hear from you guys specifically. How bad do you want this story mode? Is it important that it's in this game? Would it make or break this game for you? And do you feel like with this Smash Ultimate title, does Smash Ultimate have to have the Ultimate game mode as well? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See you guys.